Well, if you didn't figure out by now, this is something called Transforming the World. I'm Pastor Greg. We're taking a look at different characteristics that should be found in the life of a Christian. In this particular week, the topic of discussion is reverence. Well, back in 1978, Billy Joel released a song that was called Honesty, and the chorus of that song kind of laments, honesty is such a lonely word, everyone is so untrue. Billy mourned the loss of honesty in the world. I can't imagine what his lyrics would sound like today. You want to know what I mean? Here's what I mean. I mourn the loss of respect in our world. There is a lack of reverence all around us. It's sad. No one seems to have any respect for anyone anymore, do they? No matter where you go, no matter what you watch, no respect. And we could probably pull a Rodney Dangerfield here if we wanted. Oh, I'll tell you, you get no respect at all. But it's the truth. There is no respect in the world today. We show very little respect toward one another. Cruel and hurtful things are said about anyone and everyone, and criticism is so freely given in our world. It breaks my heart. The idea of reverence, its basic meaning, or the basic understanding of it, is deep respect for someone or something. And of course, from a Christian standpoint, we have a deep reverence for God, a deep respect for God. But the way I see it, that deep respect, the deep respect I see in some people is only for themselves and not for anyone else. Have you noticed this as well? The only reverence people show are for themselves. They have no respect for anybody else. I suppose it's inevitable that sinful people would naturally lean toward self-centeredness. They place themselves at the center of the universe. I guess that's what you could expect in a sinful world. But when a sinful person encounters a holy God, well, that's a whole different story. Because they suddenly find themselves being quite reverent. This is the reverence that I wanted to talk about this week. Not the fact that the world is irreverent. Because we don't expect that to happen in the world. But for those who have encountered God, and what I mean is Christians, there should be a degree of reverence in our lives. Not just toward God, but toward others as well. So let's talk about that. Well, first of all, God is the one who introduced the whole concept of reverence. For instance, when Moses and Aaron encountered God, when they were building the tabernacle, and the glory of the Lord kind of descended there on that tabernacle that the people of Israel built as they were wandering in the wilderness. Moses and Aaron approached that tabernacle. They encountered God. And what's interesting is that they dropped to their knees. They fell to the ground. King David saw the angel of the Lord and fell face first onto the ground. Peter, one of the apostles, the apostle Peter, did the same thing when he fully grasped who Jesus truly is. Peter falls to his knees. So encounters with God should do this to a person. A person realizes who they are and who they are with. And I mean Christians here. Christians should fully grasp who they are and who they are with if they have truly encountered God at some point in their life. There are a couple questions here that sort of direct this conversation, if you will. They're in the self-evaluation section. They ask us to consider our reverence toward God. Number 6 asks, do I regularly enjoy the presence of God with silence? And number 9 asks, When I imagine God, do I see him as great, majestic, awesome, a God to be feared? Now, folks in the Bible learned this once they encountered God. And I know you're probably saying to yourself, I've never encountered God. I've never had that life-changing experience like that. Not like David, not like Moses, not like Peter. But I would suggest to you that you have, if you are a Christian. So as we begin this week talking about reverence, I want to remind you that if you are a Christian, you have indeed encountered God. His Holy Spirit has filled you when you first believed. Acts 8:15 or Romans 8:9, for example. His Holy Spirit, which dwells in the hearts of Christians, speak to us as if God himself were beside us. He convicts us, John 16:8, and he will guide us into all truth. That's verse 13 of that chapter. The Spirit of God is present within us and should guide us to reverence toward God. So, you say to yourself, I've never encountered God. I beg to differ. You call yourself a Christian. You've been born again. You have encountered God. Maybe not as Moses did or as Peter did, but still you encountered God. And that was encountering God through his Holy Spirit. And his Spirit is in you. And that's your encounter with God. We're going to talk a little bit more about this whole idea of reverence this week. Hope you can come back tomorrow and we'll explore some more characteristics of reverence. My name is Pastor Greg. You've been watching Transforming the World.